Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Kelly. Welcome to Be in the Change. I'm going to get started by reciting my inspiration. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, which most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, or fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Marianne Williamson. I'd like to say welcome to everybody who's watching me for the first time, and welcome back to everybody who's seen me before and has been watching me and following me on this journey where I started in 2019. Stating I was breaking up with fear, I was breaking up with shame, and I was breaking up with guilt with a weekly video telling you guys how fear, shame, and guilt was not breaking up with me, not nearly as easily as I thought it was going to. And in 2020, it was to be kinder and more compassionate to myself and others. And in 2021, it has been to break up with processed sugar, which I am still doing all of the above, which is a total and complete miracle. So you guys, I was talking last week, I've been talking, I used to not be able to tell people until after there was an explosion. Like, part of me being able to talk now, like I can now tell you when I smell smoke. And for the longest time, I could only tell you after there was an explosion and after I dealt with it. Like, I couldn't come back and say there was an explosion. I would tell you how I handled the explosion. So I would come back at the end and say, this is what I did and how I did it, and I'm better now. And one of the many gifts that I have been given is my voice back and my ability to tell my story, and the ability to tell my story in such a way that I can tell you what is happening when it is happening. And that was something I wasn't able to do for a really long time. So I've been in 2 12-step programs. I've been in Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm a recovering alcoholic. And I've been in and sober since I've been 18 years old. And I'm going to be 50 on Halloween. And I'm in a second 12-step program called ACA, and it's Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families. And I've been in for over 8.5 years of that. So I have been in programs where I've had to tell my story over and over and over again. So that's why I have the ability to do this now. So it has been a long time coming. I didn't wake up one day and just be able to do this. It's been a long road, and I didn't realize how fortunate that I was that I can do this now, and that I need to let people know about my story and about my life, and how much it can help other people, and other people telling their stories is what helps me. But last week I was telling the story. The past 2 weeks, if you haven't gotten a chance to see my videos, I invite you to go back. But I was talking about, first of all, how I had to withdraw and remove myself from my immediate family in order to get well, to be well, and to stay well. So learning how to be safe and keep myself safe is something that I've been working on for almost 32 years. And honestly, I did not feel safe in my own body, in my own life, until about 3 years ago. And the only reason I was able to start doing this is because my son, Angelo, who has been my greatest gift, told me I wasn't good enough to have haters. He's like, you have to be good, and you're not even good. So don't worry, you're not going to have any. And I was like devastated. I'm like, I want to be good enough to have haters. So believe it or not, my son, Angelo, is the one who helped me be able to start speaking out loud. So shout out to him. So anyway, I was talking about my grandmother dying and going to her funeral, and I went on Tuesday, and I was told that my mother wasn't going to be there, and my sister wasn't going to be there. And so I've been preparing for this. I've been prepping. I've been filling up my spiritual bank, and I got there, and my sister was there, and my mother was there, and I was still okay. I told people I was going. I told them where I was going. I told them when I was going, and I had people to talk to right after that. I learned how to get an escape plan, to always have an exit strategy, which I didn't know I needed to do. Whenever I'm going into an unsafe situation or a place that I've never been before or that I'm afraid of, that I need to plan in advance and let other people know what's going on, how I can get out of there if I'm uncomfortable. I can leave. I can take my car. I can drive separate. Years ago, I would go with somebody and then feel like I got stuck and I couldn't leave, because what if I was with the person and they wanted to stay and I wanted to leave and I was stuck? And all of these things that I never had a plan or an exit strategy. So what I was able to do was drive separate. I was able to have a place that I needed to be at 3 o'clock. So I had to leave by a certain time, and then I was meeting a girlfriend for dinner, so I had somebody else to meet too. So I had it all lined up that I was going to be okay, that I had a way to get out of this if it wasn't good for me. And I used to not know that I could do this, or that it was okay for me to not stay in a place that doesn't feel good for me. So it's learning how not to abandon myself. And what does abandoning myself meant? It meant staying in an environment where I don't feel comfortable. And my family of origin, and most of them won't even watch my videos ever. They don't know what I'm talking about, and that's okay. This is not about them. This is about me and my healing and my recovery. So I can't help it if I say red car and they hear yellow tricycle. They can't hear what I'm saying. And that's what I witnessed again at the funeral. So my mom came up to me, and I hadn't seen her since like 2008 at another funeral. And she came up to me, and the last time I saw her at another funeral, she didn't know who I was, or she pretended like she didn't know who I was. I don't know what happened, but she didn't recognize me, and then it turned into this big, huge scene all about her. And so she came up to me at the funeral, and I made it sarcastic. I'm like, oh, you recognize me? So I had a little sarcasm in there. And then, you know, I am from like a family where this is why I didn't want to go back in, because if I like open the door a crack, like to peek out to see if it's safe, somebody has a screwdriver and they are taking the door off of the hinges. Like you open up a little bit and they're like in, like they think it's an invitation to take the door down. And that's why I had a fear of, I didn't want to invite that back into my life, because I don't like that. That doesn't feel good. So what happened was, when I was younger, a lot of times what my mom used to say to me is, I was going to get you this for your birthday, but since you talked to me like that, now you're not getting it. Or I was going to buy you a Christmas present, but since you talked to me like that, now you're not getting it. And I think I was around like 13 or 14 when I realized she was never going to get it from me anyway. So that's when I learned how not to attach to anyone or anything. You could take anything you wanted from me, and I built my brick wall up. It wasn't going to affect me. I don't give a shit about objects. I don't give a shit about material things. I made myself numb. And the only way I could stay numb was alcohol. That helped when I started to feel alcohol helped push it back down. So I got used to not giving a shit about presents, gifts. If I wanted anything, I got it myself. I did not want anybody giving me anything or getting anything. It really couldn't mean much to me because it was such a painful place. So my mom came up to me at the funeral in the reception. We went after for lunch, and she's like, I have a present for you in my car. And I said, no, thank you. And she goes, but I have a present for you in my car. Don't you want it? And I said, no, thank you. And she's like, you would really like it. And I said, no, thank you. And she's like, aren't you curious? And I said, no. And then I finally, after that, I said, when I say no or stop, I mean it. And then I turned around and I walked away. So I had to say no over and over and over again. And then what I didn't know how to do before was I needed to follow it up with an action after. I would just say no and no and no, and then I'd be at her car getting the present and opening it because it was so much easier than, or what it felt like it was easier at the time just to do what she wanted to get her to stop instead of saying, I can stop this and I can turn around and I can leave. And that's what I did. And then she said, I'm staying here until Friday, and I'm just not ready. It was too much for me. I can't jump back into the fire. And that's what I realized. There's a difference between sickness and wellness. And when people are emotionally sick, they can't hear me. But what I can see is I can hear me, and I can move, and I can leave. And I did, and I was okay. And I had a place waiting for me to hear about the story, to hear what happened. And what I was able to do is I was able to go and honor my grandmother. I was able to go back into that environment. I got up and did a reading. I introduced myself so everybody knew who I was, because a lot of it would be people whispering in the church, who's that? Who's that? So I was able to say, I'm Michelle. I am the daughter. I am the granddaughter of Mary, and I am the daughter of Gloria. And I could not even say that years ago. I went on a spiritual retreat, and I couldn't even say who I was. I just started to cry. So the fact that I can own who I am, who I'm related to, and I can keep myself safe and get myself out of there. So thank you to everybody who's watching. I just want to tell you my 50th birthday is on Sunday. And for my birthday, my girlfriends and I are going out to dinner, and then we're going to Build-A-Bear, and we're going to go make teddy bears. These are all things I did for my child and never for myself. So we're going to Build-A-Bear. So next week, I'm going to have show and tell. I'm going to show you guys my 50th birthday present. So thank you so much for everyone watching. Please stay tuned, stay safe, and I'll see you all next week.